I'm trying to get the haircut of Colin Farrell in the 2006 Miami Vice movie.
Nice. I was thinking Daredevil. Do a little target on your head. Be
Yeah,
bullseye,
no.
baby. Do you know do you know Ben Affleck is going to be in Deadpool 3 as Daredevil?
That's great.
Just enjoy
That's
that.
awesome. Yeah.
That movie's gonna be fun.
Hello and welcome back to the Sidescape Gaming Podcast, episode 140. I'm your host, Jake Burke, and I'm joined, as always, by James St. Charles and Ted Bullseye Libby. James, we already talked way too much about Ted's hair. You've been playing a game. I want to start on your game. I want to know what you've been playing. I'm mixing it up.
Really?
I'm keeping you on your toes.
Oh, you threw me
I know.
one from left field.
Yep. You know, sometimes
But
you just gotta. I like it. You caught it. That's all I need to hear.
New game. It
New game.
released 1.0. It released yesterday.
Ooh.
Yesterday's the 18th. Yeah, Tuesday.
Wow.
It's called Techtonica.
Okay.
It's a game that is similar to Satisfactory, like that Factorio type game, but it's a cross with Subnautica. It has this kind of cave vibe, but you're still like you're on this quest. You're exploring like this broken technology, and there's like a quest like, hey, I need you to go scan this technology and then build and then mine this copper, and then so it has that Satisfactory vibe where you're like mining materials.
Yeah.
But it also has this exploratory vibe, which is really cool, where you can go through caves and go through water and search for different systems. So the game came out yesterday, 1.0, and immediately when I tried to play it for 10 minutes, my PC shut off. And I was like, what the hell? That's really bad.
That's not a good thing.
I thought it was my PC. And so I was like, all right, I'll relaunch my PC. I try to play it again. 10 minutes later, shuts off again. I was like, whoa, okay, it has to be this game. So I benchmarked my PC, tried other things, and I wrote on the forums, I was like, hey, this game is shutting off my PC every 10 minutes. And the developer responded, and he's like, oh, turn off VSync. And I did. And it fixed it.
That's so
funny.
funny.
The developer responded, but it was just like, the game is a little bit, it maybe needs some tuning.
That VSync error, if he was to change that, it would take out half of the game, and he has no
I know.
idea
I was like,
now. He's like,
I was like, this is weird. Okay, and I have a pretty good system, so I played probably an hour or two into it.
Okay,
and it's been pretty fun. I mean, if you're into those type of resource management factory type games, this is that game, and it's a little bit more friendlier, I'd say, than the other ones. Not a steep learning curve. It holds your hand through some stuff.
How does it look?
Visually, it's nothing too impressive. Satisfactory is pretty impressive, but it has some cool I'd say it has some cool life into it, different colored plants, mushrooms and stuff. All it's a little bit vibrant.
Okay,
Yeah.
It's something crazy with the.
I know.
It's all good.
I'm looking at screenshots, and it looks very well put together. But all of the textures look like they're from a '90s video game, but they're all put together, so it still looks like a modern game.
Yeah, I'd say I played online with a friend, and it was, okay, but definitely needed some work.
So are you sharing a world with your friend, or are they in your world and you're in his, vice versa?
I guess whoever hosts it, I'm in their world.
So you're in the Redfall experience, is what we like to call that.
No, it is not.
I think I am. Yeah, so I have my own, and then I have theirs that I join.
Okay,
but I don't know if it's there's a multiplayer experience and then there's a single player. I have to find that out.
Oh, that's interesting. What was this called again? I'm sorry.
Techtonica.
Techtonica.
Yeah, interesting.
My other question: how do you like the factory building, the thriving of surviving and thriving?
That is my favorite part. I'd say it's really, it has this nice snappy you build your part, you can build it all in your inventory, you place it down, you turn it however you want. It has these little devices where it's there's a miner and a drill. It just mines.
Oh, that's cool.
And then it has this thing that picks up it it'll be like a robot that picks up whatever it mines and puts it in wherever you want to put it, on a little conveyor belt or in a storage box. So it works nicely, and you can tier it up, and you can level the ground. The ground leveling is not too good. It's not like a layer. It's you have to keep hitting it.
Oh.
If I want to explain it, it's 7 days to die, but I don't know if you guys have played 7 days.
It does a certain section of land, and then you have to keep going next to it.
Here's this triangle that comes out, and then there's this another triangle that comes out. So it's not I can just I want a flat land. You have to work at it. Right. That's the pain of that. So if you want to play something flat, it's have to spend all day just like picking
That
X.
sucks. That
So
really sucks.
the terraforming isn't too good, and I'm pretty sure there's probably something that like improves it. But yeah, they have these like power floors where you put down flooring and it'll power anything on top of it. I like that a lot.
Well,
So
that's
you
cool.
don't have to like connect everything with wires. It just whatever's on that floor, it's powered.
Well, that's very cool.
Yeah, they have these little batteries too that you can put down. So if you lose power, the batteries will start depleting. So you could charge up the batteries. It has a lot of cool stuff.
Surviving? Are you surviving too? Like it's a survival building game?
No, so that's the thing. There's no enemies that I've encountered at all so far. So I don't even know if there's any enemies. With Satisfactory, there is enemies. So that's why people are like, "Oh, this is just Satisfactory," or it's like, but I think it's a little bit more friendlier. Satisfactory is a little bit you have to like figure out a lot of things, and this one like this one has like a little mini story. It has like a lot of nice exploration. Like it tells you to go over here. Oh, you find this little hidden like old technology, and you can like search some chests. That's kind of cool. Like I like that. Like it breaks up the monotony of just like build this mining drill and grab the resources and optimize your mining. So it's pretty good.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I liked it. It's I think it was $50, maybe.
Looks like it's 25 now.
25. That's probably it's at 1.0. I don't know if it was cheaper.
Oh, cheaper in early access.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on it?
I'll keep playing it, keep putting some hours into it, and then probably until it's done, I'm done.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, that's what I've been playing.
Well, enough about Techtonica, because this is the 140th episode of the Sidescape Gaming Podcast, where once a week we Discord over 500 miles, talk about a gaming-related topic and what games we are playing. This week we're going to talk about Final Fantasy 16. But before we do that, we have a question, a written-in question for us, kind of. Foreign User, our number one fan, Foreign User, has asked us a question about exclusivity and games that we would either make exclusive or non-exclusive, but I wanted to take that into a different direction because of what happened with Microsoft this week. The FTC basically tried to appeal the judge's ruling recently. The judge ruled that there's no monopolization kind of being threatened here. And so then the appeal went to the courts. That was then denied. So it looks like Microsoft is probably going to buy Activision by October. They have to basically go through the EU's version of the FTC as well. That does look like it will clear, though, because of now they have evidence. They can just point to the government here and say, well, they cleared it here. And then they'll go, okay, you're right, sure. So they're going to buy it. And I wanted to know with the Blizzard IP, because the only thing that they've done, there was an agreement with PlayStation and Xbox that said PlayStation will get Call of Duty for 10 years. It's written, it's signed. They will get it for 10 years. I want to know, what would you do with Blizzard IP? Now Xbox is going to have Blizzard IP, StarCraft, Overwatch, whatever. I imagine they're going to use it in not just traditional ways. They're going to expand this IP and make it the front runner of a lot of their stuff. Are there games in the Blizzard catalog that you would like to see taken differently? So like a Warcraft in a different style or something like that. What would you do with Blizzard IP? Or a Blizzard IP?
That's a good question. I'm going to take it from the start. I think
Yeah.
I'm going to compare them to another studio, which is Riot Games, who has, one of the largest MOBAs in the world, League of Legends. But they also have other games in the works, like card games. They have their own, like, they have TFT. They have all these other stuff. But they also have a fighting game in the works.
Oh.
And I think a fighting game would fit well with Blizzard's catalog of different characters.
So you would do like a brand-wide fighting game.
So Xbox has Killer Instinct.
Yeah.
Maybe like a Killer Instinct with Blizzard characters would be pretty cool.
Blizzard Instinct?
Ooh,
Blizzard.
I like it. But
like
also
that.
one thing is, I think today they announced Blizzard announced Activision announced that they were putting Overwatch 2 on Steam.
I saw that.
That's so I think there's like some stuff going in the background. I was telling you about like the Call of Duties that there's stuff. Rock and Roll Racing, is that the
This is what you're gonna do, Ted? You're bringing it back?
Is that an old Blizzard IP?
Yeah, it is.
Oh jeez.
Did you know about it before this question, or did you research?
Oh yeah.
The most
I knew that before this question, but
what's
that's
their like
that's
first
my
one?
answer.
Orcs and something? I can't remember. They have a lot of.
Oh, it's backwards. Damn it.
Well, they also have.
Not for us.
It's sorry. They have Activision as well. I mean, of course. Yeah. So Activision has a number of IPs that they can easily grab in, like from the way old days. So I'm curious. Yeah, right. Like I'm curious with you. Like, but what do you think is?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. We gotta go to Ted because he's got monster trucks behind him. We can come to me afterwards, but that's too fucking good.
Rock and roll racers, baby.
A racing game. Sorry. Racing game?
But you would take it as like a third person action adventure game about cars.
I don't think they would do racing game.
No, I would do exactly what you have previously stated and throw in all of the characters from all of the universes. They're just in a Mario Kart-esque environment. And then just get Ozzy Osbourne back at BlizzCon, call it Rock and Roll Racers. You're good to go.
I'm in.
BlizzCon's dead.
Not anymore. Yeah. It's not.
They're bringing it back.
They're gonna keep having BlizzCon.
Yes, sky's the limit.
Sky's the limit, man. It's Xboxes now. They can do whatever the hell they want.
Maybe they do have BlizzCon and just make it like an Xbox Con.
I was kind of thinking about this in a way of StarCraft Ghost is like one of the famous canceled games that never was. That third person action StarCraft game. And Xbox seems to have this idea that they really want to make a fantasy third person game, and then they announce it and then it never comes out. And they've done this multiple times. So, when we saw that Fable commercial, it's like, that's cool, but you've done this before with Scalebound and everything. I think they could do that with Warcraft. I think Warcraft could be that third person open world action adventure game. Like single player. They have World of Warcraft, that's fine. But like make a really cool fantasy game in the Warcraft world. I think that'd be really cool. And I think there's a lot of potential for like using Warcraft in brands that isn't just RTS or MOBA or MMO. So that's kind of what I would do.
I completely agree with you because, so it's one of those things where I think Blizzard IPs in general, with the exception of maybe Diablo and maybe StarCraft, need to get reintroduced.
Yes.
You know, like Jake, who's the main character in Warcraft?
The dude that sits on the frozen throne.
What's his name?
Alistair.
I mean,
is that right?
No.
Oh, damn it. I was like, that'd be pretty fucking sweet. He looks like an Alistair.
That's exactly my point.
What's his name, Ted? Hold on. What's his name?
Arthas.
Shit, fucking course.
Yeah. No, so that's exactly it. Where like a Warcraft needs, I think some of their IPs, Warcraft, maybe StarCraft, needs like hey, this is what this franchise is. Yeah. Because if you log into World of Warcraft nowadays, it's 7 expansion packs later. The stuff that's going on is not
pandas.
Yeah, you can kind of gather some knowledge, but if you are fresh off the boat, like you're gonna have a kind of a tough time just learning who Thrall is. And instead of making people go back and play older games, I think they have an opportunity to recreate some of the original stories that they that were in their games from the 90s. Diablo just came out and it does a pretty good job of explaining the basics, but like as I was playing Diablo, I was thinking to myself, like, a StarCraft twin stick shooter makes a lot of sense. You just play a Marine, you point and shoot and kill tons of aliens.
Yep. I mean, the StarCraft Ghost always made so much sense. You are playing a stealth StarCraft game as the guys that plant nukes, and that's what they do. Like, what a fucking game that is. And then
there's a lot they could do. I think they've had a lot of success recently with Age of Empires and that style of game. They could easily explore something in any of Blizzard's IPs, and that'll hit on that.
That to me, I wonder about, because at some point you can't.
Another Warcraft.
There's not enough people playing RTS games for you to justify funding
StarCraft 3
four RTS games at the same time. You're not going to get a new Warcraft, a new StarCraft, a new Age of Empires, and a new Age of Mythology all coming out at once.
Yeah.
So I think they won't make a new RTS game, or if they do, it'll be the same. They will have a Microsoft RTS.
What about an XCOM team. Like?
That would be cool.
That would be very cool if they can make it work.
StarCraft, XCOM like.
I mean, they've done Gears. They've done the Gears Tactics.
That game was a piece
they
of
know
ass.
it.
Well, Gears Tactics was a great game.
No,
like it was a great tactics game with no anything
substance,
outside of it,
style, or anything.
No, where like it turns out the thing about XCOM is building out like a resistance base or an anti-alien defense team, and then going out and doing missions. Turns out when it's just missions in a linear story,
it's pretty boring.
It's not as fun.
Yeah, permadeath is also one of the best parts of XCOM and any of those kind of games.
Yeah, that's true. When your 4 main characters don't die,
it's like, man, right?
But to answer the question, I mean, there's just so much they can do. There's a lot there that is established within the Blizzard fan base and the Activision fan base as well. I mean, Call of Duty, they're just going to keep doing Call of Duty. Like, there's nothing new there. Maybe they have some little twists here and there. There hasn't been real super innovation with Call of Duty besides Warzone. But
this is where I was like, I imagined that Call of Duty was going to become like what they kind of pitched Halo Infinite as, where like it was the platform, you know, where like they were just going to add to the platform. But if it's going to stay on Sony, they would be stupid not to release a new $70 product every
right. And I think that's what
year.
they're going to do.
So yeah,
I don't even know the full details of the 10-year agreement, but it sounds like it's promising a new game like probably like every year.
Yeah,
or so.
and like I don't think that Call of Duty can go on cloud gaming yet. And there's like a few stipulations of stuff like trying to make it almost like the free market on Call of Duty. Yeah, I would love to see just them kind of pull these older kind of brands and make them modern. Kind of like what like Ratchet and Clank hasn't like changed a bunch, but they've taken a brand. Sony's like kind of taken this brand that was kind of shoved in a corner and kind of like revitalize it as like almost like a Pixar movie you play. And it's like I want to see them kind of do something with like these brands now that they're getting. You know,
even old games that get remastered, like let's take for instance like Metroid Prime recently, like it just blows up. Like I think that's just like such a money bag if they did like some old remasters of games. And we know those sell well, so that could be like an
Game
easy,
Pass.
quick, yeah.
Metroid Prime 2 apparently remasters.
They better
coming like
they better do
imminently is like what it's rumored.
Imminently?
Wow. Yeah, so who knows? There's another Nintendo Direct. It'll probably be part of that as available now.
Nintendo's had a good year. I've heard Pikmin had some good reviews.
Yeah.
Pikmin 4.
Yeah. You gonna get Pikmin 4, James? Is it going to be your Luigi's Mansion 3?
No. You know, I haven't played a Pikmin game since I was like 8.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't think I've ever played Pikmin.
I've never played a Pikmin game either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not too into Pikmin. I like the idea. So
like even as like a 10-year-old kid, I was like, not for me. I know it's not mine. Not a me thing.
I had Animal Crossing, Pikmin, all those.
Yeah,
those were good games.
With your GameCube handle.
Yeah, I love that.
Any final thoughts on this this Activision Blizzard Xbox thing? Do you guys anything percolating?
Just looking forward to it to be finally over.
Me too. I'm ready for it to be over and done, and let's just start seeing what's going to happen.
Yep.
I'm in that.
Yeah, I have a hunch that not much is going to happen initially. I'm hoping, and this is a weird side thing, but I'm really hoping that Microsoft does well by like the BattleNet and online capabilities, because like if you go onto your phone right now, like Xbox has 3 different apps and none of them are a place to buy games.
You know, this is something. Ted, are all Blizzard games going to be exclusives?
Exclusives to what?
Like, well, to like Xbox and stuff. Like, is that going to be like an Xbox product, or are they just going to own Blizzard like they, like, you know what I'm saying? Does this make sense what I'm kind of saying?
I think so. I believe they will probably not touch Blizzard, the company.
Yeah. Blizzard
games will stay Blizzard games, just because they have a very dedicated fan base. And I don't think it would be advantageous for them to dissolve that name and just Xbox's World of Warcraft. It doesn't quite.
They're gonna do it the exact same way they're doing currently with Bethesda. Like keep it how it is, but completely put in their own personnel, like hold their hand, oversee them like crazy.
Yeah.
Which is why like Redfall fell, because like, Redfall, we trust you. You can do this. You made some good games, but like they were so invested. Like Starfield has to be so good, and that's what they're probably gonna do here. We'll see.
I'm hoping they can utilize the Blizzard Activision online resources to build out a better store. I hope they can figure out. Can you imagine
if they move to BattleNet? Like, I'm not BattleNet.
See, I don't think they'd keep BattleNet. I think they'd dump that and do this new Xbox Live thing.
That's what I think. I think they're dumping BattleNet.
I don't think they dump BattleNet. BattleNet's
maybe not in the background.
The internet.
I don't know the background process.
The internet backlash when ActiBlizz let the Battle.net trademark slide for like 22 hours was insane. They had to make a public statement saying that BattleNet was not going away.
Now it's going to be bought by someone else, and you want that Xbox brand as much as possible in someone's face. Like you said, you don't want 3 apps on your phone. You'd rather have one Xbox app.
So I hope they can use the intelligence or the resources they'll get to make really strong kind of, a better PC app, because the Xbox PC app is a little lame right now.
Yeah.
It's functional, but it's not very good. It even says beta at the top.
Oh, Techtonica is on Game Pass.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
Sorry, that's why I didn't know the price. I was like, why didn't I know the price?
I don't think they will just get rid of BattleNet, the name. I think it's too popular among the diehard fans.
Yeah,
I hope they do I hope they do some small changes. I'm sure the Call of Duty infrastructure is massive to get everybody to play together seamlessly. I mean, I hope
there's like a separate 6 studios. Yeah, there's one studio that just has the infrastructure of online.
Yeah, Raven is like the online, and they have all these other.
I think Raven has like a 7-party team that does like maps.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I hope they can use those resources for more background stuff that just make a better quality of life for Xbox stuff.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I almost didn't know, like, is Blizzard IP almost too sacred to certain people to, like, if you made a third-person Warcraft game where you could play as, a Terran or, whatever, like, is that almost, like, sacrilegious that you're taking No? Okay.
I think new IPs are fine. It's messing with stuff that's already there. Like we're shutting down World of Warcraft because who needs it?
Right.
That would get a lot of negative attention.
I think that's what they should do first thing, day one.
I think, well, they're trying to do the opposite. Like Xbox is bringing back old Call of Duty servers that Activision has neglected.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for that because I'm looking forward to other old games being revitalized.
Yeah, this is probably a silly idea, but I hope they make like a Master Chief collection of Call of Duty games.
Yes.
Of just like, Call of Duty's what 4 through 15. Just like you can search for what's your favorite game. It just pop in, pop out.
Let me pitch you on this.
Yep.
Okay. We call it the Call of Duty Modern Warfare Trilogy, but there's 6 games in it because they're all named Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1, 2, and 3. So we just do all 6 games, but there's a shuffle button. So you don't know which Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1, 2, or 3 you're getting, but it does it in a certain order. Thoughts?
I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in.
All I need to hear.
You know what else?
Call of Duty Generations.
There it is.
When I was growing up, it was all about COD 4 and Halo 3, and I've always wanted Master Chief and Call of Duty. So first thing, Call of Duty skin, or Master Chief skin.
You're getting that. Absolutely getting that.
Printing money right there.
Yeah. Yeah, I just checked out the Homelander
Gears skins.
Gears. See, do you got Crash Bandicoot? Give me Crash Bandicoot. That's all I want. He's an Xbox party character.
There's some fun stuff. Like COD is such a fun franchise to do stuff. I mean, we're gonna be playing later.
Yeah, do you know Ted? Do you know
Homelander?
Homelander is in Call of Duty now.
The boys.
The boys.
Yeah, in the Warzone or just the newest
in Warzone. Yeah. So it's Star. What's her name? Starlight. Yeah, Starlight. Homelander, and then next week is
Noir too.
Black Noir, and then it looks like there's like 2 or 3 more slots where they'll announce characters. I'll buy it if it's Huey.
The Deep.
I'd buy I would play as the Deep. But I want to play as Huey. I think that'd be really funny to just play as Huey.
Naked Huey?
yeah, butt-ass naked Huey. Man, when we get more of the boys. Ted, when the boys comes out, that's what this podcast is all about, okay?
I
think
the
boys podcast.
Yeah.
This year, right? The boys' new season this year?
Gotta be. I don't know. Who knows? There's a writer's strike. There's an actor's strike. There's everything.
Crazy they're like still consume media, but don't be acting at anything because that's their stance.
That's their stance.
FYI.
Yeah. All right. Are you guys ready to hear about Final Fantasy 16?
Yeah.
I think so.
The 16th title in the Final Fantasy series, but not the 16th
So
game.
it's not the Final Fantasy.
No. This Final Fantasy is one of many fantasies that are final. James, the Final Fantasy 16 is about a man named Clive. Okay? About a man named Clive, and it's a very weird game. I like this game, but it's a very weird game. We are big fans. I'm talking to just James here. Ted, you need to play Final Fantasy VII Remakes, but you and I are big fans of Final Fantasy VII Remake. Like one of my favorite games I've ever played.
Same. One of the best combats I've ever played.
Yes. This game is really trying to do what they did, but not as successfully. And like it even like scales back the RPG elements of that game, which is wild. But this game is about a man named Clive, and he has magic powers, and there are many people in this world that have magic powers. This game is based on Game of Thrones almost. It's very Game of Thrones-esque in politics and characters backstabbing each other. The production value is 10 out of 10. This game is spectacle. The boss battles are fucking crazy. And they're like 30 minutes long, and they're awesome. And multiple times I've had to pause the game, put it in rest mode mid-boss battle to then go do something that like is actually important in my life, and then I'll come back and finish it because they're that crazy and long. But it's also kind of problematic. We've done 2 shows now on like how bland this game's side quests are, basically, and how I'm almost coming to Jesus with that in video games of like, I don't want to do this at all. And this game is really bad about that. It gets in its own way a lot of the times. But every time it gets its own way, then you go back to the story missions, and it's freaking awesome. Anytime you're in the story, it's great. Characters are okay, but the lead characters are good. So there's like 2 brothers that are the lead characters. They are great. The side characters are pretty problematic. So in this world of Valistia, there are 2 islands. Ash and Storm are the two islands. And there are people called bearers, and bearers use magic. And there are these crystals that are in the ground that are called the mother crystals, which are in all the Final Fantasy games. And they draw their magic from the mother crystals. But bearers are like treated like slaves and like second-class citizens. And there is this whole like dynamic of like freeing slavery, and that basically the binds of society are wrong and we need to break the will of society and like break open this whole thing. And it talks a lot about racism almost, but in that parallel of like bearers and non-bearers. It's very odd that every character is white in this game. They mentioned like separation and class systems and everything, and I think it's a very weird choice that there are no people of color in this game. Wow. You even go to a Middle Eastern location, and the people are just like kind of tan.
Wow.
And so that's weird.
Yeah, that's weird.
So
especially with like Final Fantasy VII and all that, where there's like a main.
Yeah, and there's people of color in Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Right.
The characters in this game are nowhere near the characters of Final Fantasy VII Remake. And I think that you get a little extra help because those characters have been around for 20 plus years in Remake, but this game has like some kind of lackluster characters. The main girl in this game, Jill, is just there to service the protagonist guy. Like she has no substance whatsoever. And they try to give her substance and then they take it away really quickly. And like then she's just like a wet blanket.
She's no Aerith.
She's no Aerith. She's no Tifa. Like none of these people are Barrett, James. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I know.
God. This game is all about combat. It is a Devil May Cry combat game. There are no RPG elements in this game. You pick abilities. That's it. You don't do anything to your party members. You don't customize anything on party members at all. The only thing you customize in yourself are your abilities and your sword that you just buy the next best sword every time you go back to your hideaway. So that's kind of weird. The gameplay loop is odd. Most missions are running down a hallway, group of enemies. Running down a hallway, group of enemies, cutscene. Running down a hallway, group of enemies. But it's fun. It's fun combat. The combat's really fun. You fly around the map, you're cutting people, you're using different abilities. There are these things in the world. I'm dropping so much information on you guys, and I apologize, but it's a dense game.
I love it. Keep it
okay,
going.
Cool. There are these things called icons in this game. And icons, it's not spelled like icons, because it's Final Fantasy. It's like spelled E-I-K-O-N. Icons that are like these huge beasts. And what's really cool is they're all the summons from past Final Fantasy games. So like Shiva, which was like the main summon you use in Remake, she's actually Jill. Jill is the Shiva icon. And so like she uses Shiva and like becomes Shiva. And so that's a big part of the game, is that your character is also one of these icons. And you'll become this like big beast, and you have these big ass like kaiju battles. And they're really cool.
Love that.
And they're really cinematic. And that's like the spectacle of this game, man, is awesome. Anytime there's big boss battle moments or like anime plot twists and stuff, you're like, this is rad. But then it's also kind of hokey. But like it's really cool.
That's very Final Fantasy though.
Yeah. It's just really weird that it's not an RPG, like at all. Like that blew my mind. Like you don't customize any part of your party.
Yeah, that's
crazy to me. You have like 5 characters in your party, I would say, that like kind of rotate in and out doing missions, but you never choose them. You never
it's just part of the mission.
Yeah, it's just like Jill's going with you this time. You're like, sweet. All right. Gav's going with you. Okay, cool. Come on, Gav. You're kind of funny. So like that's weird to me.
Yeah.
But like I said, anytime the story comes in and those characters in the story, it's interesting. It's cool. And then it kind of ramps back down a little. And it's got this weird like kind of up and down even flow to while you play it. Like I find myself looking at my phone sometimes during like certain scenes where it's like you're just doing a lot of exposition again, so let's hop back on the phone. So that kind of sucks. I don't know, what questions about Final Fantasy 16 do you have? And then maybe that'll help reroute where I want to go.
I'll give it to you, Ted.
Did you enjoy your time with it?
Yes. Right? Yes.
Okay.
But I also wouldn't say like get this for $70.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Like
yeah, it's $70.
If you really like Final Fantasy and like that's a known thing, like I like Final Fantasy, you're gonna like it. Like it's a fun Final Fantasy game. But if you're expecting this like RPG, that's not what this is anymore. Like Final Fantasy is going just such in a third-person action lane. That's where it is now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but I did enjoy it.
that strikes me just as super weird. So Final Fantasy to me has always been a a traditionalist role-playing game.
They've always
sometimes doesn't deviate, and now it sounds like they've.
Well, they always deviate a little bit, but they keep that core mechanic. But then like the last three, like 15 was really much of an action game. Did you customize your party in 15, James?
I don't recall.
I don't recall either. I don't think you did.
I think you had the same guys the whole time.
Yeah, it was on a bachelor party
in your Mercedes like the whole way.
That game's
so maybe
wild.
It wasn't with that. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think you customized it. And then in 7 Remake, you like all you do is change their materia and their abilities. Mm-hmm. So you can basically you can make Aerith the healer, or you can make her like the magic user, and vice versa.
Which is still RPG element because it was like you can have a different class and different abilities.
You don't do any of that in this game. You don't like use your teammates' abilities at all. They just use them for you. You got this dog, James. You got this dog named Torgal. Torgal. Okay? Torgal. Okay. Torgal fucking sucks. Whenever they say about this dog, it's a dog, it's cute, you got a dog friend. Every game's got a dog friend now. He doesn't do anything special.
Whoa. Are you about to rip on D-Dog right now?
No, never. D-Dog's the best.
Are you about to tell me this Final Fantasy dog doesn't carry a knife in its jaws?
No, D-Dog's the best dog there's ever been in a video game. You can take that to the bank, Ted. To the bank.
True. It's true.
All right? That guy fucking crazy. He stabbed people. It was a dog that killed people with a knife. It's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. So this dog does not do that.
No, this dog does not do that. This dog can bite people. This dog can bite people harder. And then it can heal you, but like it doesn't heal you. I'm gonna be honest. I played this game for like 30 plus hours.
It heals you emotionally.
I think it does.
The mental heal.
I hit the heal button and nothing changes on my health bar, guys. I swear. To the point where like, I don't even know what I'm doing with this dog. But that's the only other thing you control besides your character is Torgal. And like he has 2 bite attacks, and that's it. And that's all you're telling him to do is like you like switch over and you just hit the D-pad and go like bite him. So like it's weird to think it's a Final Fantasy game in a way, but like then you get to the story and like the high fantasy of it and like, well, yeah, this is what these games are. They're crazy high fantasy stories that, deal with these kind of broader issues about the world or the environment. I will say that the graphics are awesome, beautiful. The landscapes, the moments, there are some just like the imagery of this game is super cool. I mean, spectacle, I keep coming back to that word, but that's like what it feels like. There's castles that you get into and you're just like, this is crazy. There's a really cool thing about this world where there are a bunch of like things impaled into the ground, like these white, like stone shaped, like carved, big pieces of machinery. Mm-hmm. And it's from a society that was before your society called the Fallen. And like every so often you like learn more and more about the Fallen and like what their technology was. So I think that's really kind of like, that's a really fun, interesting kind of cool thing that this world has that feels different than just like a Game of Thrones ripoff. But it does really come into the Game of Thrones aspect of like people meeting in throne rooms and tables and Ted.
Is there any systems in this open world, or are you just going from A to B to C?
You're just going from A to B to C. You're doing a side quest that gives you some materials, and then you go from A to B to C and fight more bad guys. And then like the amount of customization, Ted, in this game is picking your abilities, which is very cool. That gives you plenty of customization and things you can do, and that's really cool. Like the combat of this game and the systems in the combat are great. Outside of that, it kind of becomes lackluster. Like the customization of your character is buying the next sword. But there's only ever one like new sword to buy if you have the right material. It's not like you get all these options that are like, this does more lightning damage. There's no like status effects in this game. You don't get poisoned, you don't get paralyzed, you don't sleep, you don't get a weapon that does better fire damage than wind, and yet you control like a bunch of elements. It's really kind of weird.
This is gonna sound like a weird question, mm-hmm. but the story, the presentation. If you were to give it an age rating on like who would appreciate this, going from like adult to teen to tween to child, an E through M category. Is this an adult storyline, or is it kind of like a very childish?
No, I think it's more.
I don't say childish in a bad way.
No, I don't. I think it's more of a mature storyline because I think it's paced pretty well and pretty slow. Yeah. Like the pace is like. Not where like a kid's like, this is fucking cool, bro. They're saying fuck and these girls having sex and this is dope. Like it's like really methodically set out, and like there is actually some very interesting villains, and I would say like the final villain is not interesting, unfortunately, but like the other villains that kind of are like the side villains to get you to that final villain are really fascinating and really kind of cool. And that I appreciated.
How's the music?
The music is great.
Talk about the music, yeah.
Music is great. The Final Fantasy battle theme is like a chant, like a da 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 like kind of thing instead of like normal, which I think is really cool. It's not remake good though.
Yeah, it's not remake. Well,
it's not remake.
Nothing beats that.
No, this game just kind of is in remake shadow a little bit, and like the combat you can feel they're doing like they're trying to do almost like Devil May Cry remake combat. It definitely feels more Devil May Cry though. If you've played those, like it's a little more hack and slashy than what that was.
I want to play it. I haven't played it yet. Though.
Devil May Cry.
I do want to play. Yeah.
Or 16,
like the latest one.
Yeah.
Devil May Cry.
Yeah. But I don't think it doesn't have the interesting aspect of remakes fighting where then like you would pause the game, select your abilities, jump to Barret, select his ability, and like cool combo attack, go. It's like I do my fire ability and that's cool, and then like I guess Torgal's gonna run in and do something, and it's like all right, and bite. Yeah. I tell him to sick him. You know, that's what I do.
So who is this game for? When you described the basicness of it, it almost made me like, oh, is it like an intro to Final Fantasy? And that brought me to like, is this a kid's game? But now I'm thinking, is this an intro to Final Fantasy, like adults who have never, maybe this is their first console, or like they've never touched Final Fantasy? Like, is this a good starting point?
Yes.
If you've never touched Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I think like 15, Final Fantasy 15 is like infamous for being like, first off, it took forever to fucking make. But like, it was kind of like people loved it, but it was really lackluster, and kind of like the story was meh, the world was weird. This is, I think, like the Final Fantasy to introduce modern console gamers what a Final Fantasy is, where like remake is like their kind of like side project that's like really great but different and kind of like harder to understand. This is like remake is their baby, and this is like the magnum opus of Final Fantasy. This is like, here's what Final Fantasy is going to be from going forward. Like it's going to be these like interesting high fantasy action games. Yeah. Like that's, I think, what this game is kind of introducing us, this concept of like, here's what it is. And the combat director of this game is the combat director of Devil May Cry's. So like a lot of the past Devil May Cry. So like this game is now geared to be a third-person action game rather than an RPG by any means. And that, I think, is kind of unfortunate because we have a lot of third-person action, but they don't sell, RPGs don't sell as well. So
yeah, maybe. It falls right in line with kind of what PlayStation wants on their consoles. I know this is available for all three.
No, it's not.
But
is it not? This is a PS5 exclusive. PS5. It's not even on PC.
Nope.
It will be on PC though at some point, right? I'm staring at it.
They always say like
how long? It took like 8 months or something for a remake to come to PC. It took a long time.
Interesting. Okay. So this is a PS5 exclusive.
Yeah.
At time of recording.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. So that falls right in line with what PlayStation wants, is big third-person action games.
It doesn't feel like a Sony game though that way, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like it doesn't feel like their kind of game. It's interesting because like we have so many of these types of games. It's cool. I like it. It's big. It's fun. Cool kaiju fights is great. But like, I hope that Final Fantasy isn't just all of this going forward. Like, I hope that they do keep innovating and changing and trying different things. Like, I think with this game, they're really trying to like tell these cinematic stories over like 36 to 40 hours rather than these 200-hour RPGs where you have random mob encounters all the time. But I think that they need to figure out that balance of like, we need to have an RPG a little bit. We need to customize a party. I shouldn't be in the same clothes this whole game. Like, that if you're not going to give me any like armor customizations, you got to give me something where I feel like I'm owning Clive. Also, name a character better than Clive. Let's just be honest. Not a good name. Just a bad name.
I mean that's a great game if you're making a really weird game about road tripping. You know, like that. I guess for me, Final Fantasy 15, previous game, I never played it. Full disclosure, but I've always wanted to play it. Because it's weird, it's like,
on Game Pass. You should play it, Ted.
Yeah, well, it's like it's one of those things where like Final Fantasy has kind of been around for so long. They've done the straight and narrow for so long that Final Fantasy 15 felt like they were trying to deviate, just trying some weird stuff.
Yeah.
And weird stuff from Japan is even if it's not good, it's fantastic. If you get what I mean.
No, so you're right, because what's cool about Square Enix and their games, they take these big ass fucking swings, and like, yeah, they don't always pay off, but at least they're swinging.
Yeah,
and I think that this game, man, takes big swings. They don't always pay off, but it's swinging.
Yeah,
and I think you're right. Like, that's what's so cool about 15. They took a big fucking swing.
Yeah, and so to hear the general discussion of 16 be like, it is what it is. It's very third-person action game. It's very, it's beautiful. It's bombastic, but it's also, kind of your fantasy story. It seems like they're maybe staying in their lane, which I personally am not interested in, but I'm really curious to see if people want this, you know what I mean? If this becomes a big seller.
It feels so safe compared to what Remake is doing.
Yeah.
For Remake to be the biggest curtain pull of video game history, probably, like, just to be very honest about what that game actually is compared to what we all thought it was going to be, I think, like, this is so safe. This is so, like, by the numbers high fantasy. Doesn't make it bad, but it's not like
it's not pushing the boundaries.
No.
FF7 was doing. Yeah.
No. Like, if they made
not
another
even
one
carrying
of these,
that combat, or evolving it.
Yeah, and that's weird. But
yeah,
I mean, it's two completely different studios.
But the thing is, it's two completely different studios, and they're probably working at the exact same time. So of course they're doing different things. Maybe the next Final Fantasy 17 like does something similar to Remake, or I'm not too sure.
It's so interesting because Final Fantasy 7 Remake's like world was so enjoyable to explore. Like to just walk into like corners there, like even if there wasn't an item, there was something interesting. Where like I've never been so motivated to fly past this world and just get me to the next story beat.
Right.
Like I'm kind of a completionist in games, and I'm like, don't do any side quests. We're just powering through the end now. And like I never do that in games.
Yeah.
So, and that's just because I'm like, none of this is rewarding. The exploration's not rewarding. But like the story is, but like nothing else besides like the narrative to me is rewarding in this game. Right. But it's a fun story. It's a fun series of TV that's kind of interesting and takes big swings and has a main character named Clive. And I didn't think I'd ever play a game with a main character named Clive. So that's interesting.
I have.
Yeah.
I bet you the protagonist of the Stanley Parable was named Clive.
You don't think it was Stanley?
Just a guess. Isn't that the narrator's name?
No.
Sorry, the narrator. The narrator's name is
Clive.
The
narrator's name.
Somebody in that game is named Clive.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure the guy's name is Stanley.
Are you Stanley?
I think you are Stanley.
And the narrator is
the
Clive.
narrator keeps like saying Stanley.
Then the narrator is Clive.
Not Stanley.
Somebody in that game is Clive. There's a potted plant somewhere named Clive.
One day we gotta like play that and just get really drunk.
Do mushrooms.
Yeah, do something. We need to do something and play that.
Oh boy.
So none of us have ever done that, but that's what we should do to
some salvia.
Just kidding.
Every time you have to make a decision, James has to take a shot.
I remember you guys introduced me to the Stanley Parable when I lived with Ted. I think James, you probably were there. I don't know if you were, maybe not. No.
I don't know.
Oh, but I just remember
I want to play the deluxe edition, the one that's like 1 and 2.
Oh yeah.
You can play 1 into 2.
I just had no idea what the game was, and Ted and Eric were just like, we're just gonna play this tonight, and you're just gonna play this game. I was like, what the fuck are we playing? Have fun with this game. Like the coolest experience of my life. We did the whole thing in one sitting. Great.
Yeah.
It was great. That's what we used to do back then, Ted.
Yep.
not a lot else.
Good times.
Good times. Any final questions about Final Fantasy 16?
I'm just curious. Do you recommend this game?
When it's on sale, James, this year, I think you should check it out.
Okay.
I think you'll get enjoyment out of it, but don't expect a 10, expect a 7, 8.
Okay.
Yeah. That's
right.
I'm
all for good combat.
Yeah. Yeah, the combat's great. It's fun. You move around. It's just playing like playing Resident Evil 4 Remake, this game that's like such a great paced gameplay experience. The gameplay pacing of this is like terrible. And like I felt like that I walked into like this abandoned town in Final Fantasy 16 earlier today, and they were like, "Oh, what's happening here?" And I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be like an intense, like weird mystery part." Nope, wave of enemies. And I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, we're not just walking through an empty, deserted town with narrative. It's like, nope, just back to fighting." Yeah, all right, that's what this game is.
Capcom has just really done so well recently, especially with the Resident Evil franchise and the RE engine. Like,
I know. I can't wait, James, for whatever RE9 is gonna be, where you can play it in first person, third person at launch.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're
cool.
gonna do. I think they've seen that because they added that later for 8. Like that people want both first and third.
Yeah, I think they saw sales numbers of like, well, people are buying the third person games that aren't buying the first person games. So we gotta figure this out. Yeah, man.
First person's scary.
First person is. I would never. I can't do it. I need to play Village on third person because it scared the shit out of me in first person.
Whenever it goes on sale with the DLC.
Why is it $15 extra? Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Because they added like the girl or something.
Yeah. There's a whole DLC side thing with the girl. Ugh.
Hell yeah.
None of it's gonna matter. They're gonna reboot the whole thing soon.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts for today's show? Ted?
They should make a new Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
What would you call it? What would you call it?
Tony Hawk Pro Skaters with an S, and it's co-op.
Not a Z?
Is
it? Would it be? Will we all be confused like Dragon Ball Fighters? Where we'd be like, is it Dragon Ball Fighters Z or Dragon Ball Fighters?
Z's at the end isn't quite skater culture. You know what I
mean? Tony Hawk Pro Skater. We get Master Chief doing a 360 kickflip.
James, Tony Hawk Pro Skaters.
Skaters.
Oh, Pro Skaters. Right. Sorry.
Yeah.
Tony Hawk Pro Skaters remake.
Remake.
Give
me Master Chief.
Give me Master Chief doing
They've already remade
a manual into.
I want Jesus. I want a Jesus skin.
Jesus.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are they buying? Does Activision own the rights to Jesus too?
Probably.
Yeah, probably. Damn.
Probably.
Damn.
You guys seen those videos? People modding Jesus to Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Just
really great.
Watch that all the time. Anyway, that's my final thought.
Thank you so much for watching the 140th episode of the Sidescape Gaming Podcast. My name is Jake. That's Ted. That's James. And we will see you next week.